Late one night, Elon Musk walks into a quiet gas station and notices a pregnant woman working tirelessly behind the counter. What happens next will leave you speechless. The clock struck 11:45 p.m. as a sleek Tesla pulled into a modest gas station just off a quiet stretch of highway in Springfield, Missouri. The neon lights flickered faintly, casting a soft glow over the otherwise dim surroundings. Inside the gas station, a lone worker stood behind the counter, a woman visibly pregnant, her rounded belly stretching her faded uniform. She moved with deliberate care, her face a mixture of exhaustion and determination as she restocked a nearby shelf with snacks. Elon Musk, dressed casually in a hoodie and jeans, stepped out of his car and glanced toward the station. At first, it was just another stop on his road trip. A quick charge, maybe a snack, and back on the road. But something about the woman caught his attention. Perhaps it was the way she leaned ever so slightly against the counter when she thought no one was watching, or the way she forced a polite smile for the occasional late-night customer. Curiosity turned to something deeper, a quiet admiration for her resolve. This wasn't just someone working late hours. This was someone pushing through despite circumstances that would overwhelm most. Musk adjusted his jacket and walked into the station, his footsteps soft against the worn tile floor. As he approached the counter, the woman greeted him with a practiced, tired cheerfulness. "Welcome. Anything I can help you with?" Her voice was warm, but her eyes betrayed a fatigue that spoke volumes. Elon glanced at the name tag on her chest. Renee. He returned her smile with a small nod, looking around briefly before placing a bottle of water on the counter. "Long night?" he asked, breaking the silence. Renee chuckled lightly, though it sounded hollow. "Every night's long these days, but someone's gotta do it, right?" Elon paused, sensing there was more beneath her words. "How far along are you?" he asked gently, his eyes flickering to her stomach. Her hand instinctively went to her belly. 7 months, she replied with a touch of pride. "I keep thinking I'll slow down, but bills don't wait for anyone." She let out a self-deprecating laugh, quickly scanning his purchase. Before Elon could respond, the bell above the door jingled, signaling another customer. Renee excused herself to attend to them, her movements brisk but careful. Elon watched her go, his mind already racing. As Elon stood there, sipping his water, he couldn't shake the image of Renee's weary smile. Something about her unwavering grit stirred something unexpected within him, a thought that wouldn't leave. Elon lingered by the counter, pretending to browse a rack of travel-sized toiletries. His gaze occasionally flicked toward Renee as she assisted the new customer. Despite her obvious exhaustion, she treated each person with genuine kindness. It was a rare quality, he thought, this mix of humility and resilience. When the other customer finally left, Renee returned to the counter and offered him another smile, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. "Anything else I can get for you?" Elon hesitated, then decided to go with his instinct. "You're working pretty hard for someone who's 7 months pregnant," he said, his tone conversational but tinged with concern. Renee raised an eyebrow, her hands automatically straightening a display of gum packets. "Well, maternity leave isn't exactly in the cards right now," she said, her voice light but with an undercurrent of frustration. "I need to save up before the baby comes. Can't afford to miss a paycheck." Elon leaned forward slightly, intrigued. "Do you have family nearby to help?" She shook her head. "Not really. It's just me and the baby's father. And well, he's not in the picture anymore." She paused, realizing she had said too much. "But I'll be fine. I've always figured things out." He studied her for a moment. "Do you mind if I ask? What do you hope for after the baby comes?" "I mean..." Renee looked surprised by the question. She placed a hand on her belly, her expression softening. "I hope," she faltered, as if the act of voicing her dreams felt almost indulgent. "I hope to give this little one a good life, a safe life. Maybe go back to school someday, get a degree, start a business. Something that's ours, you know?" Elon nodded thoughtfully. "That's a lot to take on. You've got guts." Renee laughed, this time genuinely. "Yeah, well, guts don't pay the bills." She glanced at the clock. "Or keep the lights on. But you do what you have to, right?" For a moment there was silence. Elon's mind churned as he weighed his next words. There was something about her story, her quiet determination to keep going despite the odds, that struck a chord deep within him. "You've got a good head on your shoulders," he said finally. "More people should have your drive." Renee shrugged modestly, busying herself with tidying the counter. "Thanks, but driving only gets you so far." Elon placed his empty water bottle on the counter and reached for his wallet. "What if I told you that sometimes, when the right person notices, it can take you a lot farther?" Renee blinked, caught off guard by the cryptic statement. "I'd say that sounds nice in theory, but life doesn't usually work like that." Elon gave a small smile, one that hinted he might just be the exception to her rule. As Renee turned back to her work, Elon's mind was already spinning with possibilities. Her story wasn't just compelling, it was a call to action, and he knew exactly what he needed to do. Elon stepped outside into the cool night air, the faint hum of passing cars on the highway breaking the stillness. He leaned against his car, staring at the gas station. Renee's words lingered in his mind. Drive only gets you so far. He had heard countless stories of struggle and perseverance, but this one felt personal. Maybe it was the late hour or the raw honesty in Renee's voice, but he couldn't shake the feeling that he was meant to do something. Pulling out his phone, Elon began typing a series of notes and reminders to himself. His mind raced with ideas. He didn't just want to help Renee. He wanted to create something larger, something lasting. He was known for tackling big problems, but this one felt different. It wasn't about innovation or technology. It was about humanity. A sudden thought stopped him mid-typing. Why wait? He slipped his phone back into his pocket and walked back into the gas station. Renee looked up, surprised to see him again. "Forget something?" she asked, her voice light. Elon approached the counter, his expression serious but kind. "Actually, I was thinking. You said earlier you wanted to go back to school and start a business. What's stopping you? Other than the bills?" Renee blinked, caught off guard by the directness of the question. "I mean, everything. Time, money, energy. It's not exactly easy to juggle all that when you're on your own." Elon nodded, his lips pressing into a thoughtful line. "What if you didn't have to juggle it all at once? What if you could focus on one thing, your future, without worrying about the rest?" She frowned slightly, unsure of where this was going. "That's not how the real world works." Elon reached into his pocket and pulled out a sleek black business card, sliding it across the counter. "Call this number tomorrow. Tell them Elon Musk sent you." Renee stared at the card, the name printed in understated lettering catching the light. She looked back at him, a mixture of confusion and skepticism clouding her features. "I don't understand. What is this?" "It's a way to make things a little easier," Elon said, his tone calm but firm. "I can help cover your expenses. Enough for you to take some time off, have your baby, and figure out your next steps. No strings attached." Renee's hand hovered over the card, her eyes wide. "You're serious?" "Dead serious," he replied. "But it doesn't stop there. If you're willing to share your story, I'd like to use it to create something bigger, something that helps other women in your situation. No pressure, though. This offer is yours regardless." Her fingers finally closed around the card, though her grip was tentative. "I don't know what to say. Just say you'll think about it," Elon said with a small smile. "And if you're ready, make the call." Renee's voice was barely above a whisper. "Thank you." Elon gave her a nod, then turned and walked out of the station, leaving her standing there, the card clutched tightly in her hand. As Elon drove off into the night, Renee remained at the counter, staring at the card. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but for the first time in a long while, she felt a flicker of hope. The following morning, Renee sat at her small kitchen table, the business card resting in front of her like a puzzle she couldn't solve. She hadn't slept much. Her mind replayed the interaction with Elon Musk, trying to decide if it had been a dream or some elaborate misunderstanding. Who just walks into a gas station and makes an offer like that? Her fingers hovered over her phone as doubt crept in. What if this is too good to be true? What if it's some kind of scam? But the memory of Elon's calm demeanor and genuine tones silenced those thoughts. Finally, with a deep breath, she dialed the number. A professional voice answered on the second ring.
Musk Foundation.
"How can I assist you?" Renee's voice wavered as she explained her situation, mentioning Elon's visit the night before. The assistant's tone shifted immediately to one of warmth and efficiency. "Of course, Miss Renee. Mr. Musk informed us about you. Let me walk you through the next steps." By the end of the call, Renee's world had flipped upside down. She wasn't just receiving financial help. She was being offered a fully paid maternity leave, assistance with childcare, and a scholarship to pursue her dream of going back to school. Tears streamed down her face as she thanked the assistant repeatedly, overwhelmed by a kindness she hadn't thought possible. Word spread quickly at the gas station when Renee shared the news with her manager. At first, there was disbelief, but when the Musk Foundation followed through with the initial payments, the skeptics were silenced. Her coworkers rallied around her, offering their congratulations and support. As the weeks passed, Renee began to settle into a new routine. For the first time in years, she didn't have to choose between survival and her dreams. She started attending evening classes online, preparing for a business degree, all while focusing on her health and her soon-to-be-born child. Then, something unexpected happened. One day, Renee received another call from the Musk Foundation. "Mr. Musk has a request," the assistant explained. "He'd like to meet with you again to discuss a larger initiative inspired by your story. Are you open to it?" Renee hesitated. She wasn't used to being the center of attention, but how could she say no? She agreed to the meeting, unsure of what to expect. As Renee prepared for her meeting with Elon, she couldn't help but wonder what more he had in mind. Little did she know, her story was about to become part of something much bigger than she had ever imagined. The meeting was set at a modest conference room in St. Louis, far from the usual glitz and glamour Renee had come to associate with billionaires. When she walked in, Elon greeted her with the same casual warmth she remembered from their first encounter. This time, though, his focus was razor-sharp, his intentions clear. "Renee," he began, gesturing for her to take a seat. "Your story struck a chord with me, not just because of your strength, but because of what it represents. There are countless women like you, working tirelessly and sacrificing everything, without the support they deserve. I want to change that." Renee sat quietly, listening intently as Elon outlined his vision. He wanted to launch an initiative to provide financial assistance, education opportunities, and childcare support for expectant mothers in low-income jobs. It would start as a pilot program in Missouri and, if successful, expand nationwide. "And here's the thing," Elon continued, leaning forward slightly. "This program isn't just about money. It's about creating a network, a community of women who can support each other, share resources, and build better futures for themselves and their kids. Renee was stunned. You mean, you want to use my story to inspire this? Elon nodded. With your permission, yes. Your resilience is what sparked this idea. I'd like to feature you in the campaign, anonymously if you prefer, but I want the world to see what's possible when someone gets the help they need. For a moment, Renee was speechless. She thought of all the nights she'd cried herself to sleep, feeling like no one cared. And now, here she was, being offered the chance to help others in her position. I don't know what to say, she finally managed, her voice thick with emotion. Elon smiled gently. Say yes if it feels right. That's all. Renee took a deep breath and nodded. Yes, let's do it. The campaign launched a month later, featuring a powerful testimonial from Renee. Her identity was kept private, but her story was shared through heartfelt interviews and visual storytelling. The initiative gained traction almost immediately, with donations pouring in and major companies expressing interest in partnerships. National media outlets picked up the story, and soon, Renee's anonymous journey became a symbol of hope for working mothers everywhere. The program expanded beyond Missouri, offering support to thousands of women across the country. But the ripple effect didn't stop there. Conversations around workplace policies, paid maternity leave, and support for low-income families gained momentum. Renee's story, amplified by Elon's platform, sparked debates in corporate boardrooms and legislative halls alike. Through it all, Renee remained grounded, focusing on her studies and preparing for the arrival of her child. She often thought about how a single moment, a stranger walking into her gas station late one night, had set all of this in motion. As Renee looked forward to her brighter future, she couldn't help but marvel at how one act of kindness had not only transformed her life, but also opened doors for countless others.